being used in the Netherlands. With the introduction of the steam engines during the Industrial Revolution, the use of the wind power in Holland started to decline. By the turn of the 20th century, only 2,500 windmills were still in operation in the Netherlands. By 1960, only fewer than 1,000 were still in working condition. According to Frank Aldridge, an employee of the MITREM Energy Source and Environment series, who wrote the book Wind Machines, second edition, a book on windmills of New Age and Old, year 1980. I have had an enormous amount of personal experience volunteering at an authentic Dutch windmill in Fulton, Illinois. I had been volunteering and have been under miller training for 5 years from authentic Dutch millers. I've also done a lot of research through books and in the internet, and have found the windmills have been a significant effect on the Dutch culture. I grew up in the small town of Fulton, Illinois, which people can trace back 40% of the heritage could be Dutch. Everyone there knows and understands what a Dutch windmill is and the impact it has on the Dutch culture. In Comm, Illinois, not too many people know what a windmill is or what the significance it had on the Dutch culture. Windmills played a very important role in 3 different aspects of the Dutch people's lives. The first role that windmills play a part of in the Dutch culture is in the labor-saving devices. The second role is they play a part of the Dutch culture is that it was the home of the miller and the miller's family. Finally, it serves as a secret communication device back in the day. First, windmills were first used back in the 10th century to pump out water. And the windmills were always placed right next to the water because you'd have to pump the water out where it was, and the cold air helped make sails turn in circles. And since Netherlands was at sea level or below sea level, they had a lot of water and they needed to take all that water out so they could have farmland and they can live there. There's an old Dutch proverb that says, God created the world, the Dutch created Holland. According to Ruchen Olfe, who wrote The Wind at Work Activity Guide Towards and written in 1997. As years have gone on, windmills have evolved to labor-saving devices that has been immense improvement to grinding grain, pressing oils, making paper, sawing wood, making snuff, and making glue from animals. The list just goes on and on. Those are just a few of them. As I mentioned before, the second role a Dutch windmill has is for the miller's home. Now, as you can see in this photo right here, there's windows here. That's actually where the miller would live, is in the basement of his house. And they wouldn't have like beds all over the place. They'd actually have the beds in the walls, and they'd have to pry the beds out of the walls because there's like very little space. And in the Netherlands is an extremely small country, so they have to reuse everything they have, and they even live where they work, so they can't use up all the space. And there's even another photo. It's very interesting. You can see the windmills on top of someone's house. So you can also, you don't have to live in the basement, but you can just put the windmill in your house if you feel like it. Just to make it easier for you. The third thing I have discussed, had mentioned, they're secret communication devices and for everyday use. as you can see, this beautiful Dutch windmill. It is stopped at the highest point, because windmills, they don't go counterclockwise. They go they don't go clockwise, they go counterclockwise. So this right here would be the highest point right before it reaches the highest point. It's just slightly angled this way, so it'd be going this way. Um, but right before it reaches the high point, the the coming position, and that means the miller has joy in his family, or there's a wedding, or there's a birth, or there's some sort of anniversary. Now, when it passes the top point, it's called the passing position, and it recognizes sadness in the miller's family, like a death or a loss in his family. Um, and now, if you see a windmill that's stopped vertically, somewhat like a T, that at a vertical position, it means the windmill is just resting. He might be drinking some coffee or some tea, the miller is, and he's ready to work whenever you want him to. And also in World War II, this meant, because they would hide Jews in the basement of the mills from the Nazis, and since windmills were on the edge of town and they could see everything, um, this would represent that the Nazis or the communists, whoever the enemy is not in town and is not in sight. Now, as you can see here, this is at a 45x vertical ladder. It represents the windmills being repaired. So if you want to grind the grain, you might as well go next door to the next windmill, because this is not going to be fixed anytime soon. And also, in World War II, the X, secretly represents that the Nazis are there checking, so hide everybody, because your enemy is here, and you don't want to be caught. As I mentioned before, I volunteer at the beautiful The Immigrant Windmill. Um, you can all visit it. It's free, because there's only 5 operating Dutch windmills, well, not always Dutch, but only 5 working windmills in Illinois. So you might as well visit one of them and visit me. And my name is